We've all absolutely been there, right? You're dealing with that twisting, gaslighting presence in your life, the one who just loves to spin the narrative and basically make you question your own sanity. Well, in today's explainer, we are drawing on the ruthless, centuries-old genius of Niccolo Machiavelli to build a masterclass on how to actually deal with them. Okay, let's dive into this. So who is the manipulator in your life right now? I literally want you to picture their face for a second. Is it, that toxic boss who constantly moves the goalposts and then claims you completely misunderstood? Or maybe it's that drama-loving friend who somehow makes your flat tire entirely about their emotional journey. Keep that specific person in your mind right now, because we're building the ultimate masterminds playbook to absolutely defeat them. Now, human nature absolutely screams at us to confront them, right? You want to send that heavily worded, highly logical warning text, or just sit them down to rationally explain why they're hurting you? That's the traditional HR-friendly approach. But here is the brutal, anti-advice truth. With a true manipulator, that HR-friendly approach never, ever works. Honestly, it just hands them ammunition. Instead, we're looking at what Machiavelli says. Silent power, outplay, observe. We aren't going to negotiate, we're going to use cold, calculated strategy.
Phase 1, scuff.
As Sun Tzu famously advises in The Art of War, attack by stratagem. Now, I know, we are taking intense, ancient military warfare tactics and applying them to the guy who keeps stealing your credit in the Tuesday status meeting. Or, the friend who passive-aggressively texts you. But honestly, the underlying psychology is exactly the same. A literal war of the miles requires serious, quiet stratagem. So the absolutely crucial point here is rule 1, never let them know you see through them. The very first step is just playing dumb. You see, a manipulator thrives on knowing they've triggered you, or knowing you're trying to figure them out. If you confront them, well, they win. They get the exact satisfaction of a reaction. Instead, look at them with totally blank, unbothered eyes. Deny them that satisfaction. Let them think you possess the blissful, unbothered awareness of a golden retriever. And that brings us directly to rule 2. Give them nothing real to use. This perfectly echoes Robert Greene's famous law of concealing your intentions. You've got to remember, manipulators are basically emotional vampires. They literally feed on your authentic feelings. So if you tell them what actually hurts you or what your big goals are, they will weaponize it. No question. So you withhold that real emotional information, starve them out. Keep conversations strictly to facts, the weather, just the absolutely mundane. Become the human equivalent of watching paint dry. Phase 2, jiu-jitsu. Now, what's really interesting about this next section is how we pivot from defense to offense by using their own momentum against them. Just take a look at the dynamic here. Manipulators absolutely love high drama. They twist words, they flip the story, and they constantly escalate situations just to make you dizzy. They desperately want you to match their frantic energy. But your response? Absolute silence, an unreadable expression, a completely stoic mindset. When they bring fire, you bring a total vacuum. You do not absorb their chaos, you just let it hit a brick wall. And here is exactly why that wall of calm is so incredibly powerful. Rule 4, let them expose themselves. When you refuse to react, it actually drives them completely crazy. Your eerie calmness acts as a psychological trap. Without you feeding into the drama to balance things out, they have to work harder and harder just to get a reaction from you. So they start overplaying their hand. They raise their voice, they spin more ridiculous and obvious lies, and suddenly, to everyone else in the room, they look completely unhinged, like a toddler throwing a tantrum at the grocery store while you're just sitting there politely blinking. Phase 3, fortification. Time to secure the victory and lock them out for good. To do that, we really need to understand the supply. The supply is basically the emotional reaction, the attention, or the drama a manipulator feeds on to maintain their power over you. Which brings us to rule 5, cut the supply, not the rope. You really don't need a fiery, dramatic exit or some massive confrontation. Actually, a big blowout fight just gives them an all-you-can-eat buffet of supply. Instead, you just quietly turn off the tap. You become polite, professional, but completely emotionally vacant. And this brilliantly illustrates Rule 6, create the impenetrable circle. This is a carefully guarded social or professional boundary that completely deprives the manipulator of access to you. You don't loudly announce you're blocking them or pick a fight. You just slowly, systematically build invisible walls. You stop inviting them into your inner circle. You compartmentalize them. Soon enough, they become an outsider looking in, entirely neutralized without a single shot ever being fired. As we reach the pinnacle of this strategy, remember Robert Greene's famous advice. Assume formlessness. Now, I know it sounds incredibly dramatic, but think about it for a second. If you're a solid object, well, you can be struck. But if you're water, you simply flow around the punch. Your ultimate goal is to transform from a highly reactive, easy target into a completely blank, formless presence whenever they are around. And that brings us to the climax of our strategy. Rule 7, become completely unreadable. The ultimate Machiavellian power move in dealing with a manipulator is to simply become a ghost. When they look at you, they should literally just see a mirror reflecting their own nonsense right back at them. Offer absolutely nothing for them to grab onto. No tells, no emotional spikes, no obvious weaknesses, just a smooth, impenetrable, unreadable surface. So here's the big question. Are you ready to become unreadable? Think back to that person you pictured at the very start of this explainer. The next time they try to spin their toxic web, remember these rules. Don't confront, don't warn, don't explain. Just smile, stay totally silent, and quietly outplay your modern-day villain. You have the master playbook now, so how are you going to use it?